Hello everybody, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news as Jadon Sancho quits Manchester United again. Scott McTominay gets closer to the exit door and Ugarte, I don't think he could get any closer to the door if he tried. I think he's actually opening the door and letting everybody in. Just walk in yourself, lad. What's going on? Lots to get into on the show. I mean, look. Somebody said in the live chat a minute ago, Sancho wants out because he wants to play first team football and everyone's saying he's quitting again. I mean, I've got a response to that. I mean, I find that bloody incredible if I'm being completely honest. But first of all, some very sad news. We are a community and very sad news coming in the last hour that Ahmad's mother has passed. So thoughts with him, his family, and obviously a devastating blow for Ahmad, and as a player of Manchester United, then obviously our thoughts are with him and his family. I wouldn't expect him to be involved in the matchday squad tomorrow, and I think we could all understand why that is. So obviously thoughts with Ahmad at this time. And actually, you know what? In a footballing sense, and obviously football is secondary to this, and Ahmad needs to take the time he can, but he would have been in the matchday squad. He may well have been in the starting lineup. So if he's not in the matchday squad, does that actually mean we need Sancho on the bench? Because we had Anthony and Garnacho on the bench last week. So if Ahmad's out of the matchday squad, then we need Sancho on the bench as the second winger, which just goes to show, I mean, this is why I just don't agree with this type of behaviour, because something like that happens, you know, a life event, a tragic life event, and suddenly we need a winger on that. You know, suddenly the fifth choice winger is needed on the bench, but he's thrown his toys out the pram again, apparently. So, look, this is what The Athletic are saying. The Athletic are saying this. Sorry, I've just looked at the wrong page. One source around Manchester United says that Sancho reacted to not being in the squad against Fulham by reaffirming his desire to leave Manchester United. He was mixing with teammates in the dressing room before kickoff, but wasn't seen watching the game with others. And Fabrizio Romano has also come out and said that Jadon Sancho is open to leaving Manchester United. And I think, look, we've got a poll. Should Sancho leave United or should United let Sancho go? 93%. I mean, at what point does this just get beyond embarrassing for INEOS and Manchester United? Because he's got us by the balls. There's no two ways about it. He'll end up with a loan move somewhere where he wants to go again, and we'll be paying some of the wages. And I therefore think that, you know, it's just one of those really. Stop. We need to take control of this situation. Yes, it's going to cost us a lot of money, but I mean, I despair at this. I absolutely despair at this. And for anybody who says, well, he's not quitting, Mark, he just wants first team football. Oh my God. If he wants first team football, maybe I've got a really novel idea here. Maybe get your bloody head down and work for it. It's the first game of the season and you're not in the matchday squad, so you want to leave. I mean, I would say, well done INEOS, well done Erik ten Hag, well done Van Nistelrooy, well done everybody who set him the test because he failed it in the first game. Maybe INEOS said, right, Sancho can get back involved, but he's got to earn it. He's got to work hard to get his place back. And, you know, working hard, he's not going to be in the matchday squad for the Fulham game because actually Ahmad, Garnacho and Rashford are all ahead of him and Anthony's ahead of him. Whether rightly or wrongly, he's got to earn it. Doesn't get in the matchday squad, throws his toys out the pram. He just proves the point again, doesn't it? Proves the point again that I thought he'd work hard till at least October. Doesn't get in the matchday squad for Fulham. Oh, I'm not bothered. I mean, whatever happened to I'm not in the matchday squad for Fulham, I'm going to train my arse off this week and prove that they got it wrong. I'm going to work my arse off until I get a chance. And then when I get a chance, I'll prove them wrong. But he doesn't want to be at Man United. Let's not get our knickers in a twist here. He doesn't want to be at Man United, does he? You look at his social media, it's all about bloody Dortmund. He doesn't want to be at Man United. And I think, actually, I sort of understand that. I don't know what we're playing about. It's obviously Player FC with their Starboy shit again, but I think anybody can see he doesn't want to be at Man United. So we need to get rid of him. Because actually, if he doesn't want to be here and they don't want him to be here, it's just taking the piss out of the great name Man United that we're playing around with a situation. We all know what happened. We all know what happened 6 weeks ago. When he turned up at training, That was just a bloody PR exercise. This was a sit down where we know you want to go, we want you to go, but put the training kit on, smile a bit, and you'll end up getting a move. And then he hasn't got a move, so it's all like, oh, I'm not happy. And it's not worked, has it? Because I said that at the time, that there's a high chance that when he started training with the team again, they all sat down and went, the best way for you to get out of the club is to train and smile and everyone pretend everything's okay so that people are interested in you. So they've tried it and it's not worked. So now what's going to happen again is we're going to end up with a loan, aren't we? A bloody loan. And that doesn't... How does that help us, loaning him off for another year? He's still got 2 years left on his deal. So if we loan him off and we pay some of his wages again, he's back again next summer. And what are we going to do again? Oh, come on the tour again. Pretend. At some point, you've just got to cut your losses. And look, I completely accept it's very, very difficult. Juventus, as per reports even today, Juventus really do like Sancho and they do want him, but they're not paying a transfer fee and they're not going to pay his wages. So welcome to the club of nobody wants to pay the wages because he's not bloody worth it. Good player, not worth 250k a week. Who paid him that wage? The Glazers. And we're stuck with it. So join the list. He's not the only player we can't move on this summer because he's on stupid wages. But I tell you what, it can easily derail this season because as we know, Sancho's quite popular in the dressing room. So if he ain't happy and he ain't turning up and he's not watching the games and he wants to leave, it suddenly can very, very quickly start to derail this positive vibe that we're trying to build. So this is, again, another big test at the start of the season where in the next few days, they've got to come out and do something decisive because it's just not helpful. Of course, obviously, with the sad news about Ahmad's mother passing, what price Sancho's on the bench tomorrow and then comes on and plays well? I mean, look, there's still even a chance of a glimmer of a chance of him coming back, which is why I literally said this to somebody about 20 minutes ago. I said, the stupid thing is, The Athletic have got hold of this story about Sancho throwing his toys out the pram and wanting to leave. If that story hadn't come out tonight, and the only story that came out was Ahmad's mother, we'd all be saying tonight, Sancho's probably on the bench tomorrow, this is his chance. But he's ruined that now, because we all know from the Athletic story and from Romano that actually he's thrown his toys out the pram again. And this is what I mean. He reacted too quickly last season to what Ten Hag said, and it ended up with him not playing for 3 months. And the reaction to the Fulham game, again, is the wrong reaction. Just keep quiet because you never know in life what's going to happen. An opportunity, and I don't want to call it an opportunity because someone's mother's died, but normally I'd be talking about an injury. But look, the bottom line is, if that Athletic article didn't come out, we'd all be saying tonight, Sancho's going to be on the bench tomorrow. If he can get on and prove himself, this is the journey back. And what happens? We hear about petulance and, spoilt behaviour again. Look, there's always two sides to a story, but there's always stories like this around Jadon Sancho. I think there's a player there, but I just don't think... I think the attitude, not the attitude, that's the wrong word. I think the personality is completely wrong. Completely wrong. And when you break it down, not being happy because you're not in the Fulham squad... you know what? If I was Sir Jim Radcliffe, I'd fly into Manchester. I'd sit him in the office, and I'd say, "Jadon, just explain to me one thing. Why the fuck are you not happy that you're not in the Fulham squad? I want to know this. Well, I think I'm better than everybody else. Have you ever heard of the fact that last season you didn't play for this club for 3 months and we paid you 250 grand a week? Have you ever thought that you might have a bigger journey to run than everybody else? Because Ahmad, at the end of last season, was very unlucky not to play in an FA Cup final and was brilliant in pre-season. Garnacho was one of our best players last season. Marcus Rashford has delivered in a Man United shirt and is our biggest earner. Yes, you may well be competing with Anthony, but for whatever reason, you're not ahead of Anthony at the moment. Maybe it is close. Maybe you should be on the bench. Maybe if you work hard, you would be. Maybe if you work really hard, you could dislodge Ahmad or Garnacho or Rashford. But guess what, Jadon? You don't just get in the Fulham matchday squad just because you're Jadon Sancho. You have to work for it. And it's very disappointing to hear that you want to leave the club because you're not in the matchday squad. And this is probably why your career has hit the rails since you came to this football club, because for some reason you've got very, very big delusions of grandeur. And actually, you need to bloody work hard if you want to succeed here or anywhere else. It amazes me. It amazes me. If he wasn't in the matchday squad for the first 3 months, I get it. I really get it. It's a bit, you know what it's like? It's very similar to Raheem Sterling, moaning because he's not in the matchday squad for Chelsea. Oh, yeah, but on the bench, it's Mudryk and Neto. It's not like there's no wingers on the bench. Maybe, just maybe this manager doesn't rate you as much as them. Prove him wrong. But, you know, there we go. Let's have a look at some of your comments. Sean Thornton says, speaking of commitment, rewatch the 7-0 game and Luke Shaw's role in 5 of the goals. Throw in the towel FC and it has to stop. Look, Luke Shaw for me is a very, very difficult one. I've always had his back. Always. You know I have. But to say I'm pissed off with the Luke Shaw situation would be putting it mildly. I mean, I cannot stand the way this media is so biased in the country I live. I'm telling you now, if that was Bruno Fernandes, Paul Pogba, Anthony Martial, David De Gea, they would be slaughtering him. This is a guy who hasn't played for Man United since February, but somehow, miraculously, played a few weeks for England and then got injured again. So, and yet we're just meant to go, oh, it's fine, it's fine. It's not fucking fine, is it? We haven't got a left back. Other players need to step up and have a word, says Keel. Josh Block says, rest in peace, Ahmad's mum. Lovely message there, Josh. SK says, what's mad is, if you remember last season, if he waited days, Anthony had to be dropped, could have had his opportunity then. And now with poor Ahmad's thing. SK, you're absolutely spot on. And this is a lesson in life, isn't it? You know, it's a really good life lesson. You know, when you're feeling pissed off about something or something's bothering you, sometimes it's better just to wait a minute. It is. It really is. And I'm terrible at this. I'll put my hands up, right? I'll give you a bit of self-reflection here. My wife will admit to this, and also the people who manage me will, who work with me will attest to this. When I get really, really pissed off about something, I will go, I'm bloody fuming about this. It's not acceptable. And people around me who know me will just say nothing. And I know they say nothing. And I'll say, I don't know why you're not saying anything. Why aren't you reacting? Because I'm not going to calm down about this. You're all being quiet because you think in 10 minutes I'll calm down and I'll just, you know, I'll go, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Well, this time I'm not going to. And it's annoying me even more that you're just saying nothing, saying I'm going to calm down in a minute, because I'm not going to calm down in a minute. And then I walk around the garden, I come in and I go, I've calmed down now. And it's a great lesson, and it's something that I still to this day struggle with, which is why I can speak from experience. Jadon Sancho could do with learning the same lesson I need to learn sometimes. Like, literally, if you hadn't reacted like that against Fulham, this would be your chance tomorrow because of what's happened with Ahmad. And also, last year, if he hadn't reacted and got on social media because Ten Hag said he didn't train that well, he'd have been in the team because Anthony was suspended soon after. So it is just petulance. And as somebody who can be petulant, I completely am calling it out as petulant. Emily Derry says Sancho is... I mean, not that any of you know I could be quite petulant. I mean, it's not that I've done that a few times. Emily Derry says Sancho is... But you know what? Actually, guess what? My farts smell. And there are so many people in this industry, ex-players, who think they shit gold. And they're the worst people in life. The best people are the people who know they've got faults, because everybody's got faults. And actually, just because you've got faults doesn't mean you can solve those faults. It's just about being aware of those faults. And if you're not, then you'll keep making the same mistakes. And we've said it before about the modern footballer. Some of them are absolutely surrounded by the wrong people who just kiss their arse all the time and don't tell them that they actually need to respect the fans and the club that they play for. And that should be written on their bathroom wall. Like, every time they're taking a crap, it should say, respect the fans and the club you play for. And you won't go far wrong. Sancho is probably a bigger disappointment to me than Anthony. It's not going to wrong because of a lack of ability, but poor attitude. I think you're probably right, Emily. I think you're probably right. I think with Anthony, I look at him and I don't know whether he's good enough. I hope I'm wrong, but I don't know whether he's good enough. I look at Sancho and I know he's got talent, but he's just another player on a long list of players that has the talent, but, you know, wastes it, really. If our players played for the badge like Man City, we'd be in a much better place. Instead, it's every man for himself. Real Housewives of Manchester, says who to blame. Jadon Sancho is toxic with a bad attitude, says LMP. If we can't sell him, maybe an Alexis Sanchez situation where eventually his contract is terminated, says LMP. I mean, I don't know whether he's toxic. I don't know whether he's toxic. I mean, I'm not going to say that. yeah, I don't know whether he's toxic, but I think there is certainly something attitude and mentality-wise, because he just doesn't help himself. Jordan and River, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. This Friday evening show. Rashford, Maguire and McTominay get so many breaks, says Michael. Dread Walker, thank you very much. Welcome to the Members Club. Very excited about the game tomorrow as well. Remember, we're the first up at 12:30. Dread Walker, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. GGMU says, I did not agree with Scholes' comments on De Ligt, but I think he's right on the type of midfielder we need, like Carrick, Kroos, who can run the game, says GGMU. Just talking about ex-players talking shit about De Ligt. We've had Scholes, Neville, Ferdinand, Zaha. We've now got the 5. Dwight York in an interview. I read it today. I you know when you sort of, you know what's coming? And I was like, you know, if he says this, why do they speak to these people? Yes, he was brilliant in the 99 season, but the guy hasn't got a bloody clue. You may as well ask my pet puppy for an opinion on Man United. You know what he said? I'm worried about De Ligt because a player that's getting benched by Dyer, it worries me. And it's like, mate, you're doing that 2 weeks after everyone else was doing it, and it's already been told to be a myth that he didn't get benched by Dyer. Anyway, wasted talent and very poorly advised. Get rid, says Mr. Creed MC. Michael says, spoilt brat, Sancho. If he wants to play first team football, put his head down and work hard. Overpaid, spoilt brat. Thank Glazers, you are prats. Speaking of commitment, I've done that one from Sean. Do you think Sancho agreed to void his contract? No, absolutely not. I think Sancho has got United, if you're a boy, you'll know, and twist. It's absolutely got us by the balls. Massive contract, massive wage, and also knows that if he kicks up a bit of a fuss, they'll want him out the dressing room anyway, and therefore he can go and play for Germany or Spain or France, and we'll pay him to do it. I don't really know what you do. But he has got 2 years left on his deal on 250k a week, and he knows the best thing he can do is probably be a little bit disruptive so that they don't want him around the training squad, and then they'll loan him. Maybe this is all part of the plan because he knows no one's going to buy him, so he wants a loan now. Rest in peace, Ahmad's mum, says Josh Blocks. We've done that one. Lovely message there. McCree says Sancho can take his face for a shit. You've nicked that from the podcast, but thank you very much, McRae. People need to remember no player's bigger than the club. No room for this type of fixed mentality. Sancho needs to be removed. Oliver, it's a great point, but as we know, Player FC exists, and there will be people in this chat and online who are backing Sancho still because they back players over Manchester United, and we see that with other players as well. Thomas says, plus 90% says it all. He needs to leave the club. He ruined his personal image to a point where may not be able to return. Proper pathetic, in my opinion. I don't ever see him getting in the England squad again, by the way. I can't see him ever getting back in the England squad. I think that he's good enough to play for England, but I think he's messed that up as well. I just don't think he'll get back in the England squad. I think that there are too many wingers ahead of him who, you know, you look at people like Anthony Gordon, who has the right attitude, and I don't see Sancho ever getting back in the England squad. Sancho is the epitome of a prima donna. He sums up the issue with the modern athlete, entitled, weak mentality, and lacks character, says Deffy. Harsh. Are we really surprised? His past speaks for himself, says Mario Franco. Rocket Games HD, welcome to Members Club. Good evening, legends, says Rub. Hope you're doing well. Do a poll. Do people prefer the evening or morning shows? Says James. And which do you prefer? I think they're very different. In the morning, I've not been up long, and in the evening, I'm probably, I like them both. They're different, aren't they? They are different. Thoughts and prayers go out to Ahmad at this difficult time, says Solid Blake. Lovely message there. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mark. Always watched while revising for GCSE, says Dan the Man. I hope they went well. And Kalal says, hi, Mark. Ex-players don't want our signings to be better than them. They're afraid they will be overshadowed, and that's why they're always bitter talking about the club. Don't loan him out. Ban him from the club, says Keel. Not going to happen, is it? Clearly, Sancho struggles with character issues, surrounds himself with clowns. Such a shame because clearly his talent is there. He will regret this, says BG. You know what, though? Look, I always will try and find a reason for something, and when I played for my school team, it was a very good school team, and we won. I think in my final year, GCSE year, we entered 4 tournaments and we won them all. We were very, very good. And our best player, left-footed winger, should have gone pro. Didn't go pro because made bad choices. I'll put it like that. And one of the best players I've played with, and I played with there was a lad a year ahead of me who played first team football for Notts County as a centre back, and he was way better than him. But it was attitude. And look, for something more relatable to yourself, Ravel Marison is another one. Just very, very talented player. But, there are some people in life who will get up and work hard Monday to Friday, every day, consistency, work hard. And there were some people who will get up late every day and have a couple of days off every month. And that's just human nature. And it's the same in football as well. Talent will take you so far. Good evening, Mark. Huge supporter from the US. Thank you for your time and all the insight. Love the shows. Jordan, thank you very much. You're a legend. What is the ex-players' agenda? Slating current United players, never-ending toxicity around the club, says Jack. And Ugarte, here we wait, says Escape. And Ugarte can open the door and kick Sancho in the hole on the way out. Loving the new backroom staff. Come to Northern Ireland, Mark, says Paul. I would love to. Fantastic community. I've shaved my armpits today. You should try it, Mark, says Gareth Southgate. Leopard can't change their spots, says John. Sancho has never consistently performed in a shirt at Manchester United. It's overdue and needs to move him on. Sancho is probably a bigger... I've done that one from Emily Derry. So look, let's move on from Jadon Sancho. Lots and lots of opinion there that I wanted to get through. Thank you very much for all your opinions. I think the sooner he gets moved on, the better. I think he will get moved on. My fear is that it will probably be a loan deal. I just want a big shout out, by the way. We mentioned it on the podcast today. Now, if you've ever heard of the band Script, they've got a new album out. This is not a paid promotion because Danny even said, do you want any money for it? I said, absolutely not. He's been on the channel before. Lead singer, Danny of The Script, which is a massive band. Some cracking songs that I really like. Standing in the Hall of Fame. Loads of them. Got a brand new album out called The Satellites. I said, send it through, Danny, and we'll give it a shout out because he's a massive United fan. Watches the United Stand, and they've got an album out at the moment, and they're battling to be #1 this week. So if you've got the time, get it ordered. Satellites by The Script out this week. What a link up, eh? United Stand and The Script. That's the sort of quality of people who watch this show. Ollie Mers said, can I have mine? I said, no. You don't even watch it anyway. You probably watch Sky Sports News because they wear tight jeans and white trainers. Yeah, but check it out. Brilliant album. Let's go. I feel Garnacho is being underrated and I don't get it, says Astro Boy. Should be starting over Rashford based on performance. I think he'll be starting tomorrow. I think he'll be starting tomorrow. Anders says, wish we had owners who could pay these overrated players off. Glazers have screwed us for years and continue to do so. You know what, Anders? That's a great point before we move on. If we were Barcelona or Juventus, Sancho would be booted. If we were Chelsea, Sancho would be booted. We can all take the piss out of Chelsea, but what they've done with Raheem Sterling and Chilwell and Chalobah, some people might think it's a bit harsh. We actually need that here. We actually do need that here. How is it that Chelsea can spend 1.5 billion in the last 2 years and then can say to one of those signings, fuck off, we don't want you. And yet United just hang on to them and say, please be nice. We can't do anything about it because we're so in debt. Every player is listed as an asset and every player knows it and every player's agent knows it. And we will never play hardball with anybody who is on over 200 grand a week or 150 grand a week or even probably 120 grand a week. So they get us by the balls and twist and we just go, please, please. And there's not a lot INEOS can do about it because they don't own the football club. The Glazers do. INEOS can't just say, let's pay Jadon Sancho off because it's not their money. It's the Glazers' money and they won't do it. So we're sort of stuck really and it could take years to change this. Rayan says, you're such a legend. Thank you. And to all the toxic people who judge me for staying with my parents, I support them and hence stay with them, says Rayan. Thank you very much, Rayan. Hope you're doing very well. I don't see the problem with Sancho wanting to play first team football. Isn't that a good thing, says Jevon. But play first team football at Man United. We pay your fucking wage, mate. I don't know whether you're trying to wind me up, Jevon, but it's worked. I need to have a walk around the garden. We pay him 250 grand a week, and we have done for years, and we've got 2 years left on his deal. If you want to play first team football, I've got a great idea. Play it for the fucking team that spent loads of money on you and has backed you for the last few years. I mean, remember last summer, okay, there was a fallout. What about the year before where he had issues Ten Hag and the club just said, go away for 3 months, let him go away for 3 months because he had issues, supported him and brought him back. You know, have we ever had any kickback? Have we ever had any, you know what, I'm not in the Fulham match. I mean, I'm not saying sell Jadon Sancho. Maybe this season he could have had a glow up. Maybe he could have bounced back. No, I'm not in the Fulham match day squad, so I want to go. If he wants to play first team football, how's about play first team football here? How's about work hard for it here? No, nobody's saying just sell him. Like, if he wants first team football here and he wants to work for it, happy days. Happy days. But he doesn't, does he? And that's the disappointing thing. Andy says, Mark, INEOS are trying to put right years of Glazer privileged little boys coming to the club. Cut our losses, get him gone. Sell him for what we can, pay him some of the wages, says Keel. How can Sancho prove Ten Hag wrong if you won't consistently pick him? Rashford was terrible last season and disrespected the club in Belfast and he's in the team every week. Sancho treatment was unfair, says Football or Soccer. Well, I mean, mate, I'm sorry, I'm not going to let that go. Sancho's treatment was unfair. Oh, you know what happened, do you? You've got all the info, pray tell. Because nobody's got a bloody clue what happened. So it's amazing how you can say something was unfair when you haven't got a bloody clue what happened. And as for the fact, how can he prove him wrong if you won't consistently pick him? Consistently pick him? We've had one game of the season and it was always going to be Rashford, Garnacho or Ahmad. He was never going to start. So maybe he just needed to fucking work hard and prove himself. Unbelievable. Did you know Sancho and Rashford intake nitro oxide, says Abby? You'll get sued for that. I shouldn't have read that. Don't know anything about that. Don't even know what that is. Is that laughing gas? Well, it was Bissouma who got done for that. You can't just go throwing out round accusations like that. Jevon says, I don't see the problem with Sancho wanting to have done that one from Jevon. And Jacob says, frankly, Sancho can do one. There's a reason Pep let him go from the academy. And when he did well at Dortmund, City were nowhere near wanting him back. Caleb says, what a crossover. I loved the script growing up. And thoughts on Diallo's ceiling and potential of him, says Lewis. I don't want to talk about Ahmad really tonight because his mum's passed away. And I think all we want to do is wish him all the best. And, I don't think he'll be involved tomorrow. I really don't. Anyway, let's move on. Sad news, but let's move on. 92% of you would let Sancho go, by the way. Let's just talk about Ugarte very, very quickly. Makes me laugh. No one's got a bloody clue what's happening here. Makes me laugh. Makes me laugh how many people are trying to predict when it's going to happen. Mushy says, tight jeans and white trainers, classic Goldbridge analogy. But do you want Sancho to play for us anymore? I think it will set a bad precedent. I don't anymore, Ayan. I don't want him to play anymore. But if the Fulham thing hadn't happened and this story hadn't come out, I'd have expected him to be involved tomorrow. He probably will be involved tomorrow. And that's the stupid thing. What if he comes off the bench tomorrow and plays well? Like, we'll all be supporting him, but it's just, again, why damage your reputation by reacting badly? James says, Sancho reminds me of a Range Rover. I've never had a Range Rover. I thought they were quite good vehicles. And assuming we have a midfield of Mainu, Ugarte, Casemiro and Mount, I still don't think we have a player like Rodri or Fabinho. Eric Ten Hag prefers functional players, says GGMU. So, L'Equipe said today, French outlet, there is no doubt Ugarte will be a United player. It's just a case of when. That is the latest with Ugarte. I'm not talking anything else about it. I mean, look, it really is a case of when and not if anymore. I had hoped it would happen before the Brighton game. Look, it could still be before the Brighton game. They could drop it half an hour before. I don't agree with us doing that on a match day, but we have done it before. Could be tomorrow night, could be Sunday, could be next week now. I don't know when it's going to happen, but obviously it would be nice if it just bloody happened so he could train with the team ahead of the Liverpool game, because he'll definitely be getting called up for Uruguay, won't he? Best Goldbridge analogy is Amrabat in shorts on an exercise bike, says Rayan. I don't think these actually are analogies, but by the way. Prayers up for Ahmad's family, says Landon. Thank you very much. And Jevon says, Eric seems like he doesn't like the profile of winger Sancho is, so Sancho wants to leave. I think that makes sense. Other players should do the same. And Joshua says, cheers, Mark, for the content and community. Help me through the tough years. Let's get the win tomorrow. Come to Cape Town, South Africa, Mark. I would love to. I would love to. Massive game tomorrow. But let me just talk to you about Scott McTominay. So the latest with Scott McTominay is that Napoli are still very much in the race and Scott McTominay is still very much open to leaving United. We have one week left, virtually to the hour before he goes, before the transfer window closes. It'd be very interesting to see the bench tomorrow, because obviously I would imagine it will be pretty much the same, and there's no way that McTominay will be starting. I don't know whether we'll be able to pick anything up tomorrow, where we get a sort of hint as to whether he's going to go or not. But look, Napoli are about to sign Lukaku. That's come out in the last hour or so. They apparently do like McTominay. I think they've already got Billy Gilmour. McTominay apparently wants to go and play for Napoli. But again, I think it's another loan deal, isn't it? Much the same as Jadon Sancho, and I don't think that helps us. So, look, I'm getting to the point now where I'm getting very, very excited that we may well be in a position where we can just close this transfer window and actually focus on what we've got. And as long as Ugarte is part of that, then if we can get some outs, that'd be great. 1 minute. Sorry about that, everybody. I thought the puppy had got out and I was panicking. Panicking I was. Lukaku has been bought now, so Napoli might. Scooby, says Caleb. And Mark, can you do a Sir Jim Radcliffe impression? I can't really do a Sir Jim Radcliffe impression. I mean, at the end of the day, it's sort of like a Sean Dyche posh. I sort of go, well, at the end of the day, you know, we're trying to catch up with Manchester City. But it's not easy. The Glazers have basically fucked us and handed out some really silly contracts. I mean, you know, giving Jadon Sancho 250k a week is like asking Freddy Krueger to wipe your arse and paying him. But yeah, it's not very good. Joe Von Lehman, thank you and welcome to the Members Club. You're an absolute legend. Appreciate that. And our youth purchase by INEOS is nice to see, says Mahid. And thank you very much for that. Right, get your comments in. It's Friday night show. I'm absolutely knackered. I've been so busy today. So help me out. Let's start getting into some of your questions. Why you not got Sir Alex's book on your shelf, says Mark. I have got Sir Alex's book. It's actually, I'm going to shut you up now. I've got loads of books. It's just not on the shelf. There you go. Why is it not on the shelf? Because it's not on the shelf. It's not on the shelf. It's as simple as that. If we sell Scooby and Sancho, maybe another signing, says Brandon. Well, I think Amrabat maybe could happen. One ex-player to bring to this United squad, says Lewis Williams. No, I'm not doing that. That's boring. I've done it about 1 million times. Roy Keane. Lukaku has been bought, done that one. Phil Jones and the bloody pink boots, thank you. Look, talking about tomorrow, no morning show tomorrow at 10 o'clock because we will be live at literally 11 o'clock for a 12:30 kickoff, countdown to kickoff, and then obviously watch along. So I think there will be no morning show tomorrow, but it just shows you how close we are to that game. And I think we really, you know, we need it. We need that game because, I'm trying to word this in the right way now, the transfer stuff's got a bit boring and I think everybody's starting to get to the end of their patience with the transfer window. And actually, we need to just get into football zone. I'll be glad when we get past the next international break and we start playing midweek football as well, because I just want to start talking about football now. And I do feel like, you know, you're in that tiresome part of the transfer window where, you know, the season's not really got going yet and you're still talking about transfers. And I feel that I just want to get next week out of the way. And I would love Ugarte to be done over the weekend so that next week, if something presents itself, that would be great. But you talk about left backs. What did I say to you about Kadioglu? And look, it is what it is. Like, it is what it is. And the funny thing is, I don't know, I might actually do a video on it in the September international break. Obviously, around March international break, we were talking about targets for Manchester United. And a few other people were talking about targets for Manchester United. And nobody got it right. Nobody got it right. I don't know anybody that's predicted a signing and got it right. Romano and Ornstein have reported who we're talking to, but I haven't seen anybody this summer transfer window predict a signing and it happen. And maybe 3-4 weeks ago, I saw a lot of people predicting that we're talking to Kadioglu. Oh yeah, we're interested in Kadioglu. We're talking to Kadioglu. I was always told by 2 separate people, I don't know where they're getting that from. And one of them actually said, well, maybe they've got an inside on it, because that is not what I'm hearing at all. So I took that as we were never in for Kadioglu. I think this was the old Brighton want Kadioglu. Man United need a left back. Let's use Man United to try and get the price up. Well, Kadioglu's going to bloody Brighton. It's been reported again today. We were never in for him. Now, I'm not saying he's not a good player, but the people predicting that we were in talks with Kadioglu, we were never in talks with Kadioglu. And anybody who thinks we were and we didn't just get him, we would have got him. If we wanted him, we would get him. We'd get him over Brighton if we wanted him. But the reason we were not in for Kadioglu is because we haven't got the fucking money to be in for Kadioglu. We haven't got the money for Ugarte. So where's the money coming from Kadioglu? We've never been in for him. And I think that's been quite refreshing this summer, that there's no point predicting anything, because nobody's predicted anything, because it's not leaking out who we're going for until we're actually going for them. And I think Ornstein and Romano have been very, very good this summer, but they're only good at releasing something just as it's about to happen. Like, Man United are in talks with Ugarte, personal terms are done, you know, and that's what it's been like all season. I do think Kadioglu will be a very good signing for Brighton, but no surprises there. But you can't move for a player when you haven't got the money, and we didn't. Sid T says, we ended up paying what Bayern Lille asked for this window, and seems the same will happen with PSG. Are INEOS really that different from Woodward, says Sid. I like this comment because it's a proper comment, and it's, you know, hot take, unpopular opinion. Love all this sort of stuff, Sid. Fantastic comment. Really, really do like it. Let's delve into it. Are INEOS any different to the Glazers? We've ended up paying what Lille wanted. £52 million is a lot of money for an 18-year-old. We ended up paying the £42 million that Bayern wanted for De Ligt. We ended up paying the £15 million that they wanted for Mazraoui. And we're probably going to end up paying the £60 million that PSG wanted for Ugarte. Do I think they are any different to Woodward? I do, actually. And I'll explain why. I think Sid makes a great point. And for everybody who thinks that he's right, I get it. But where I think we're better is we're not perfect. If Woodward and the Glazers were absolutely shit at transfer windows, and, you know, getting bargains is you're brilliant at transfer windows, I'd say we're in the middle. We're not paying 60 million for De Ligt. We're not paying 70 million for Ugarte. We're not paying 25 million for Mazraoui. And we're not paying 70 million for Yoro. But we did pay 90 million for Pogba. We did pay 75 million for Sancho. We did pay 80 million for Anthony. We did pay 80 million for Maguire. So I don't think INEOS are like the Glazers or Woodward, because they paid stupid wages and stupid transfer fees. Paying what Bayern want for De Ligt, I always said was a fair price. I think £42 million for De Ligt, Bayern set a reasonable price. We paid it. 15 million for Mazraoui, I think, is a fair price. It's not a bargain. I think it's a fair price. Yoro for 52 million is a lot, but I think we had to pay that if we wanted to get him away from Real Madrid. Ugarte for 60 million euros is a little bit more than I would like. But again, I think look, we're not at the point where we're Billy Big Bollocks and we're not Real Madrid. Far from it. But even if we pay the club's asking price, it's still an improvement from paying over the odds and stupid wages. So it's the first summer, and I don't think it's a bad start. Pure Turnip says, can you call my Mrs. Leah a prat? Apparently you're a prat, Leah. Make him have a bad weekend. Mate, keep on doing what you're doing. Everything you say makes sense. You've got a real talent, and I'm glad you shared it with us. Respect to you and your family, says Luke. Thank you very much. Lovely comment, mate. Really appreciate that. Don't get loads of them. Rye CB says, why the fuck would we loan out McTominay when he's only got 1 year left? Loan, then he's free to go. We won't loan McTominay. We won't. It'll have to be a loan with an obligation to buy if we did it. Thomas says you should display your YouTube play button for all the proud members of the United Stand. I don't know where it is. I don't know where it is, mate. I don't know where it is. I've noticed some ex-fans, Twitter, says John, have been trying to rate this window 9. Just can't agree with the outgoings have been poor. I don't know where they're getting a 9 from anyway. I mean, respect, you know, it's all about opinion, but I don't know where you're getting a 9 from. Absolute nonsense as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't think we could achieve more than an 8 because I think there's too much, you know, a 9 would be 10 players in and 15 out. So that's not happened. I think we're somewhere between a 6.5 and a 7 at the moment. If we get Ugarte, I'm happy to push it up to a 7, but that's probably my ceiling because the outgoings are crap. You know, there were 7 players I felt needed to go and we've only got rid of 1. There was Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Maguire, McTominay, Eriksen, Casemiro, Sancho, and 6 of them are still here. So, and look, you can't be a hypocrite when you say it at the start of the transfer window. You know I did. I said this summer transfer window for me was more about getting outgoings than incomings. The incomings have been good. I'm happy with them. And I'm surprised by some of them. And I'm pleasantly surprised by Ugarte, De Ligt, Mazraoui, because they were on nobody's bingo card at the start of the summer. Yoro probably wasn't either. Zirkzee I had heard mentioned, but the outgoings haven't been good. I don't blame INEOS. I blame the Glazers, but the outgoings haven't been good. We ended up paying, done that one. Don't worry, Mark, I'll be back soon, says Tyrrell Malasia. And Shahin says, in the Sir Alex Ferguson book you showed, there's a line that says, we had United fans who were willing to sit at Old Trafford and watch the grass grow. I feel like Sir Alex was talking about us watching Ugarte situation. And Lewis says, I saw you and Ricky yesterday at the Travel Lodge. Definitely wasn't me, mate. GJR MUFC has gifted a membership. You're an absolute legend. Who's going to start at right wing tomorrow, says Melcher. Moment of silence for Ahmad tomorrow. I don't know. I don't know whether that will happen. Garnacho will start on the right wing, and Sancho really needs to be on the bench tomorrow. Can you do a Ten Hag impression, says Muck? I've never been able to do a Ten Hag impression. All I know about Ten Hag is a mannerism where he'll talk. He'll go, look, at the end of the day, De Ligt is a good player, but I like De Ligt from Ajax, but INEOS want him. That's all. It's not an impression. It's just a mannerism. Love the channel and the studio, says Kana Dave. If you bought Ricky a suit, do you think he'd wear it? He looks like my dad at a barbecue, says Kana. Legend Ricky. I enjoyed the show, actually. If you've not seen it, Beth and Ricky show was on today. Some very interesting takes. I was sort of confused about what team he would pick tomorrow, considering he wanted... I think he wanted Sancho to start, Mount to start, McTominay to start. I'd have to rewatch it. I got lost at one point because I went to make a cup of tea and they was talking about someone else. I was like, how do you get all of them into the team? Yeah, I don't know. Ewan Gordon's gifted a membership. You're an absolute legend, mate. Darren says, every player we've bought in will significantly raise the floor of the squad, which is what this summer was about. We've done that while reducing costs and making a good profit on player sales, says Darren. Well, I tell you what, I was very happy because we did although it's the podcast, Goldbridge Saves Football, we do it live on YouTube on a Monday at midday on That's Football as a Premier League review, and on a Friday at midday as a Premier League preview. And I was speaking on there about Zirkzee, and I got very excited about Zirkzee, and you might have seen the clip, and I'm glad they clipped it up because I think, from what I've seen of him already, he's a very... he's a very simple player in the sense that not that he's crap, but he treats the game quite simply, and I love that. Ball into my feet, lays it off, I'm on my way into the box, and I think that will be so good. And I think there are, people want to turn it into either or, don't they? I'm not going to do it. I like the look of Zirkzee. I need to see more. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Rasmus, but what I really like about Zirkzee is that I think there are aspects to Zirkzee's game that will really help Rasmus. I don't think people understand how difficult last season was for Rasmus Højlund to come into Manchester United at 20 and then be the only fit striker all season with nobody to learn from. I think he did amazing, and it's a testament to him that he's got such a strong head on his shoulders and a good head on his shoulders, in the sense that, you know, everything he said to us in that interview and off camera was just very, very appreciative of his career, Manchester United, and what it takes to be somebody who plays for Manchester United. And I think, you know, as a young striker, when you're not, it's not even learning off somebody, but you do. But it's also about the competitive edge. I mean, even if you had somebody like, I don't know, who was worse than Rasmus, so let's say, I don't know, Shea Adams. Even if he was at United, at least it's another striker to work with, communicate with, practice with, etc. So I actually think that Zirkzee and Rasmus will be really good for each other, because it's like the strikers' union, isn't it? And they'll both be very aware that they can't play every single minute of every game because they'll be dead. Like, you can't do that in the modern game. So I just don't think people remember that Martial was injured all season and there is no other striker at that football club. And to have to deal with that at 20 and, you know, people trying to pile onto you all the time, I think it was fantastic. And on top of that, not only has he got Zirkzee, he's also got Ruud van Nistelrooy as well. So he's gone from having nobody to having a fellow striker to work with and one of the best strikers Man United have ever had as a sort of guardian. So as soon as he can get fit, I think it bodes well. And it bodes well for Zirkzee as well, having Ruud here as well. Really, really does. I mean, there is probably nobody better qualified to talk to our strikers than Ruud van Nistelrooy. When I think about my life supporting Man United, I mean, Mark Hughes would be good, but I don't think he's the right profile of player anymore. And also, you know, I just don't think he would want to do it. You know, Andy Cole, Dwight York, Teddy Sheringham. Yeah, again, I don't think they're the right sort of personalities. And I think Van Nistelrooy is perfect. Rooney's not ready for that, and also has his own. Ruud van Nistelrooy would have to be one of the best strikers I've seen play in the Premier League. And for him to be our assistant coach is great. But for him to be there for all our attackers, there's nothing they can't listen to. There's no disrespect. He literally demands respect. I've done it at this club multiple times. If you don't want to fucking listen, fuck off. Like, he literally demands that. There's an interesting... and Nando says your book is on Spotify Premium. Thank you very much, mate. Thanks for letting people know that. Rayan's just gifted 5 memberships. He's a legend. Let me just say, Ahmad has just put a tweet out, so I'm just going to read it out for you. Ahmad has tweeted, I want to clarify, she's not my biological mother. She is my brother's mother, and my sister was also my mother. May she rest in peace. What? Let me read this again. I want to clarify, she's not my biological mother. She is my brother's mother and my sister. She's my brother's mother, and my sister, she was also my mother. Now I'm confused. I want to clarify, she's not my biological mother. She's my brother's mother. Well, look, at the end of the day, we all send our thoughts. And I didn't get any clarity on that. I'm glad Thuto said it. I didn't get any clarity on that at all. I'm just going to read it back to you again. Ultimately, it's very, very sad. Will he be playing tomorrow? I don't know. Does that change things? It doesn't really matter because we're talking about somebody's life here. But basically, what he's saying is... he's replied to the United Stand as well. I want to clarify, she is not my biological mother. She is... I've lost it now. Where's United Stand Twitter? Okay, guys, I want to clarify, she is not my biological mother. She is my brother's mother and my sister was also my mother. May she rest in peace. I think basically what he's saying is stepmom. She's not biologically his mother, but she was his mother, if you know what I mean. I think that's what it is. Ultimately, it's very, very sad news for him. And obviously, it's whether it's his biological mother or not, he's very upset by it, isn't it? And it's a sad loss for Ahmad. And, you know, as we've all said, he's one of our own, Ahmad, but we'd say it about any Man United player. It's very sad. And thoughts are with him. And, yeah. Lee Johnson says, do you think Ugarte over the weekend with a week training could get minutes versus Liverpool? I think if we beat Brighton, he'd be on the bench anyway. But it'd be nice to have him on the bench. Yeah. Caleb says his mate's mother, who was like a sister and a mother to him as well. Says Caleb. Yeah, I didn't get that clarity from it. I don't know. But it's sad news, isn't it? Do you think he'll play tomorrow, says Wayne Brooks? I don't know. I can't really say I hope he does play, can I, either? Because I think it's when these sort of things happen, grief is different for everybody, isn't it? I remember when Cristiano Ronaldo's father died. I think Sir Alex gave him some time off, but it wasn't long before he was back. Different people. Some people just want to play because at the end of the day, I'm sure we've been in that situation. And if you haven't, I'm sure you will be at some point. When you do lose somebody you care about, it's all right having time off and stuff. And sometimes you need it. But sometimes you actually want to go to work or, you know, go to the pub with your mates or, you know, go for a drive or something. Because it's escapism, isn't it? But I don't know. I don't know whether he'll be involved tomorrow. I guess we'll have to wait and see. I mean, the fact that he's tweeting something, maybe that means he is going to play tomorrow. But ultimately, I think we all would say players got to do what's best for him and everyone will support him. That's the right thing. Which, funnily enough, goes back to Jadon Sancho, doesn't it? Because 2 years ago, when Jadon Sancho wasn't injured and just didn't play for the club for 4 months, I never saw anybody in this community or on the online community who went, what the fuck's he doing? We're paying him money and he's not fucking injured. Why isn't he playing? You know, that was 4 months and the whole fan base and the club were just like, take the time you need. So it'll be the same again, and that's the way it should be. Refuse to loan Sancho out, make him train all season on his own or playing with the reserves. He won't fancy 2 years of that, says Despicable. But it doesn't really solve anything though, does it? Because nobody wants him anyway. Yeah. Okay, thanks everyone for tuning in tonight. Over 20,000 again. Incredible for a Friday night, really. You've been absolutely fantastic over the last few nights. I've really enjoyed the shows. I hope you have as well. Of course, it's time to go to work tomorrow. Massive game for Manchester United. An early one as well. 12:30 kickoff, but we will be live with countdown to kickoff. We've got a road trip as well. Loads to get involved in. Do you think we could become a selling club in the short mid-term to cope with the Glazenomic losses? Chance to be a fine thing. Omka. Chance to be a fine thing. Selling club. We're not a bloody selling club. We couldn't sell bloody snow in the desert. It would melt anyway. But, yeah, we're not. I'd like us to be a bit of a selling club because we've got a lot of shit to sell, but we can't sell. Simple as that. Right. Make sure you smash a like and subscribe, everybody. Bottom right-hand corner. Remember, we are on that road to 2 million. And don't forget to... I've got it here as well. Got the actual CD of it. Don't forget to get the album. Get them to #1. Thanks very much for that. Take care, everyone. Speak to you in a bit. Actually, I'm going to do a double plug. Did that before, actually. Treat yourself. Treat yourself. Listen to the album whilst reading the book. That would be a good time. It really would. Take care, everyone. Speak to you in a bit.